Now this is an ellipse. By the way, I know it's an ellipse because my squared terms, my squared x and my squared y terms, are being added together. They're being added together. And they have different coefficients. So this is not a circle because they don't have the same coefficient, but it's not a hyperbola because I'm adding my squared terms. Also, I wanted to point out, I think I forgot to. What do you notice each one of these ellipses is equal to? 1. Both ellipses and hyperbolas will always be set equal to 1 in standard form. That is actually the only difference when completing the square for these. It adds a different step at the end, and I'll go over it. Before that last different step, everything else about these is the same. We're going to complete the square exactly like we did with circles. So, what should I do first here? Group the x's. Whoops. So I have 81x squared minus 648x plus 25y squared plus 300y. And what am I going to do to that? 171. Subtract it to the other side. Now, can I immediately complete the square here? What do I need to do first? Yes, take out the a values on the squared terms. So I'm going to pull an 81 out of my x's, and I get x squared. What is 648 divided by 81? 8x. And because I know I'm going to be completing my square, I'm going to leave a space for my special value. I do the same thing for my y's. I'm going to pull the coefficient of 25 out of my y quadratic. And I have y squared. What's 300 divided by 25? Plus 12y. Leave a space to complete my square. Set this whole thing equal to negative 171, and because I added a space for the x, I need to add a space for the x on the right. And because I had a space for the y on the left, I need to add a space for the y on the right. Okay, so now how do I find the value I'm adding into the x quadratic? What do I do? Yes, you take your b over 2 squared term and add it in. Our b in this case is negative 8 divided by 2 squared gives us what? And then we square it and we get 16. Now is that actually what I added into the left? What did you add in? 16 times 81. Which is a how much? What was it? 296. Now on your quiz, you're not going to get a calculator, but we'll have lower numbers than this. Lower numbers than this, all right? And how do we figure out, I didn't write 16 up here. What value do we need to add into the y quadratic? Yes, we take our b, which is 12 this time, divided by 2, we get 6. 6 squared is 36. Now what do I need to also add into the right? Yes, which is 900. Okay, so somebody complete the square. I'm going to bring down the 81, but somebody complete the square for my x's. What do I get? Yes, wonderful. X minus 4. Remember our little trick, divide b by 2 to get that factor. I'm going to bring down the 25. Somebody else, give me the y quadratic. Good. Y plus 6 again. Our little trick, divide b by 2. And what does that whole right-hand side equal? 2025. Good. Now, here is the only part of this that is different from circles. In an ellipse, for an ellipse, we don't care that there are coefficients on our perfect squares. What we care about is that this is not set equal to 1. That's what we care about. We know that in standard form, ellipses and hyperbolas are always set equal to 1. So how can I force this thing to be equal to 1? Yes, oh my gosh, my last period, it took a bit to get there. Exactly. We divide everything by 2025 because 2025 divided by 2025 will give me 1. Now, if you did this correctly, when you simplify the coefficient and the denominator, 81 divided by 2025, if you did this whole process correctly, you should always end up with a denominator that is the same as the other term's coefficient. So what 81 over 2025 simplifies to is x minus 4 squared over 25 plus y plus 6 squared over 81. And you're done. Now that's only if you did it right. I recommend checking yourself when you're doing this. Checking that 81 over 225 does simplify to 1 over 25. Yes. So what we actually did here was we simplified 81 divided by 2025s. And then we simplified 25 over 2025. Yes. And I'm just saying the nice, satisfying part of this is you should always, if you did it right, end up with the other coefficient as your denominator. That's why I'm saying you should be checking your work. Like in my calculator or over to the side, I would divide these numbers. Remember, you won't get numbers this big on your quiz. But you should do 81 divided by 2025. And you turn this into a fraction by pressing math, fraction, 1/25. So you know, okay, yes, your denominator is 25. Same thing for the other one. 25 divided by 2025. Press math, fraction, 1 over 81. Any questions on this one? So this was completing the square. This was converting from the general equation of an ellipse to the standard equation of an ellipse. So where's our center for this ellipse? 4, -6. Is this a horizontal or a vertical ellipse? Vertical. What's your semi-minor axis? 5. Good. And what's your semi-major? 9. So I have everything I need to graph this. I'm done. Yeah.